but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's a game till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip if they hate. We got all the fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day from me and Jody to you. It's about 9:39 here. As we head on into our Monday evenings, I want to bring you up to date. Some of you probably check out during the weekend from social media, and I applaud you. I wish I could do the same. And you probably enjoyed a nice Sunday. Super Bowl was exciting. Actually, I had some interesting game there. It wasn't lopsided, so that was good. And I hope you had a good time. All right, well, let's talk about what's happening for the upcoming work week. We have a storm system coming our way. If you read my blog, you know we have two things coming. One is some severe weather, potentially, and also some more snow. And we'll likely see a little bit of ice as well. So we're going to detail that forecast here for you for tonight. So make sure you please like and share this video with your friends and family. And I see you out there on Facebook already sending me some stars. So I appreciate you folks doing that. And YouTube, I see you checking in. As always, my regulars are in the house. And you guys out there on Twitter, I see you as well. So appreciate you watching. All right, with all that said and done, we got a lot to cover, and I'm going to fly through this like super fast. And you're like, Aaron, you're not super fast. I'm like, it'll be super fast. You'll feel like it's super fast. You'll blink and go like, what hit me? All right, so let's do it. All right, first things first. My goodness, today was gorgeous. If we could do this, it'd be like San Diego, baby, in the wintertime. So lots of 70s out there and some 60s. But that type of warm weather is going to kind of help to cause this guy right here, which is a threat of severe weather in the yellow shading from North Texas to Oklahoma out toward Arkansas as we head into the middle of the week. Weather Service has kind of outlined it here, but in reality I think they're going to have to draw this back out into this region. We'll show you why here in a second. But the threat there is for mainly hail and some wind. And then same thing out here in eastern Oklahoma as well. They're both highlighting a very low but not zero tornado potential. If we do look historically at a similar type setup in the analog data, we do find that there have been at least a few reports of severe weather in the area that the Storm Prediction Center has outlined. So this would not be unusual. Now we look at the more specific analog guidance for all modes severe. Kind of focuses on southwest Oklahoma and western North Texas for Wednesday afternoon. And then things will kind of shift to the east, but there's the wind threat kind of focused in that area, and there's the hail threat. So it does include Oklahoma. If you do look at the tornado threat historically in this environment, almost pretty much nil, not even registering in the data. So that's good news. But here's a look at what's happening. So this is the upper levels of the atmosphere. Our jet stream, I'll back it up for you, shows you this little area of low pressure. It's actually lower heights aloft, mid levels of the atmosphere. And what it's going to do is do the old loop-de-loop and swing around and come in like this. And as it does so, that'll help to create lift in the atmosphere. All this color represents energy, so watch the energy bubble move into Texas and Oklahoma as it gets closer. So move on into, here's Tuesday afternoon, by the way. So it's a pretty fast mover. As we head into Wednesday morning, we're going to stop it at Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. So what's different? Well, at first, was it on Saturday and in the early Sunday morning, it had the upper level disturbance about here. Well, now you can see it's here. And I put in the blog, the caveat would be If this thing comes in a little late, about 12 hours too late, then that changes the severe weather potential across the state, and that's indeed what has happened. So we're going to show you what that means here in a minute, but it will move across as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. See all that energy across the state, which is good news if you want precipitation. So we got a good upper level storm system coming in. Now we're looking at the high res model data. Look at the short version of the NAM, and it does show this little light gray area. That's instability coming back overlaid with shear in a directional pattern. So from a southeast to a southwest as you go through height, which indicates a little triangle looking appearance. When you do, you get some parameters that do come into play. This is the significant tornado parameter, and it does have a little small area out here in western counties of Oklahoma as we head into the early evening hours. That's something that we're going to have to watch for, even though it's a low risk. It's not zero, but that's going to be the favorable environment because that is where the supercell composite is for the beginning of this event. So it's pretty late, meaning that most of the storms will probably fire out in this area, and they'll have to travel in this region as we head into the evening hours. So again, it's an off timing event for Oklahoma, which is great. You never want them to come in at the perfect time. Off timing is best. And we do look at the photographs, in other words, the forecasted track as we go through time. Photographs indicate a really good view of the atmosphere, how much it spins with height. And when you see this kind of a sickle shape appearance, kind of looks like this. It looks kind of like that. That's bad news. So if you kind of notice here in these two areas, it kind of looks like that, right? And that's out here in western Oklahoma during the early part of the evening. Now, as we go through time, you can watch how this expands to the east. I'm going to go, let's do this. We'll drag it. So in the evening hours, look how it expands kind of overnight from midnight onward into the early morning hours for Thursday. So the photographs will track with the severe weather potential. And they're kind of messy, so it's good news. If they weren't messy like this, like squiggle lines everywhere, we'd be talking about tornadoes. But because they're all like this, it's mostly going to be elevated hail-type storms. But anyway, it's a pretty neat little feature there we can now look at. And if we plot a forecast sounding out for western Oklahoma, it does show severe as a threat. There's that little sickle-shaped photograph I talked about. There's a directional and change with the wind from the surface all the way up with height, so a good look and a shear profile. A lack of significant deep-level moisture, which is why they're probably going to be elevated, and there'll probably still be a little bit of a weak cap out here, which actually could preclude a lot of the development during the early part of the evening. We'll have to wait till later. Now, the forecast graphics for this will show you the most, I'll just say the most excited model of all of them, because most of them are pretty quiet. But as we head into time, by the way, there'll be some, this is starting off Wednesday morning, so there are going to be some early showers, maybe rumble of thunder maybe in eastern Oklahoma for the beginning of this event, moving into Arkansas. But then come 7, 8 o'clock, we should start to see some thunderstorms bubble up out here in western Oklahoma, maybe as far north as southern Kansas, all the way into the Texas region, into western Texas. And that's the activity, looks like around 10 o'clock Wednesday evening. So see, it's very late. It's not coming in 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's coming in 10 o'clock in the evening. So that limits the severe weather threat quite a bit. But there'll still be some rough thunderstorms out there across the western half of the state, moving through the central corridors of I-35 and points west and north and south here on the midnight hour. And that can travel eastward into the Tulsa area, probably about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Then moving into Arkansas by daybreak on Thursday. And yes, you can see that wraparound of snow. We're going to get to that here in just a second as part 2 of this forecast. Just want to cover the severe weather element first. Rainfall, right now, everything still looks good. I mean, now, obviously, outside of some of those heavier downpours, the average out here in western Oklahoma is going to be a lot less as far as the rain for the system. Much better rainfall here, west central Oklahoma, obviously to eastern Oklahoma, up to around 1 inch to maybe even 2 in some lucky folks' rain gauge and backyards. All right, so that's how everything breaks down with the severe weather part of it. The overall winter weather part of it, the impacts, will be mostly highlighted here across the northern half of the state, all up into Missouri and points into Kansas in our domain. And that is going to be mostly for some snow and, yes, a little bit of ice. So we'll break that down here for you. First thing first, the upper levels of the atmosphere, that same disturbance is going to bring us the rain and some of the severe weather, will move overhead. And this is the center of the low, according to the NAM model, moving right through Oklahoma City. Now, as we talked about before, if you've watched me, the most favored area, if you want snow out of a situation like this, is kind of in the remnants of the northern and western part, like on the backside, like for the good heavy pours of snow. So we're not exactly in the favorable position of that, but at least we're kind of on the southern end. At least we'll get something. But we'll likely not get a lot unless this track shifts south by about, we'll call it about 50 to 100 miles, really, and closer to the 100-mile mark. If you can do that, then Oklahoma City could get hammered. But other than that, it's going to be mostly into northern Oklahoma that sees the heavier snow with this particular upper-level storm track. But it's still early. Things could change. Now, here's a look at the afternoon and evening. All the lift colors represent lift, so the panhandle of Texas where things ought to fire around 6 o'clock in the evening out here, and then kind of gradually move into western Oklahoma. The big lift here comes in around the midnight hour, the western parts of central Oklahoma, so that's kind of where most of the action is, and that helps to generate all the raindrops, all the showers and storms. As we head into the morning hour, still some lift rotating around that upper level low here from west central to central Oklahoma, so that's where our snow really gets going, and that continues into the late morning hours. But if you look here toward the afternoon, it's starting to move out of Oklahoma into Kansas. So we have a very short window of some decent snowfall here across Oklahoma, and yes, before the snow, a little bit of that freezing precipitation. So this is the timing of how things ought to break out. So again, we'll have the storms that'll develop by late tomorrow evening, around after 6 o'clock. The cold front should light up here. There will be a front up here to our north, kind of still working its way to the south. And then we'll have probably a little dry line feature out here and near the panhandle or so. So we're looking for the thunderstorms to fire off both in this region and maybe in a few elevate along the front in this area. And they will all kind of congeal overnight. Now as we move into time, so this is the midnight hour. Again, heavy rainfall here in central and eastern Oklahoma, but you can now focus this little track right here. This is a mixture of freezing rain and sleet, very thin line from basically Enid to Elk City, points out to Amarillo. Snow back behind that line as it gets cold enough and the air is deep enough. As we head to 6 a.m. on Thursday, we're going to have a mixture moving through Ponca City down towards Stillwater and in Oklahoma City, back down to just probably around the west of the Lawton area. And we'll see that quick wrap around to snow for the early morning hours, and it starts to move out pretty quickly. There's lunchtime in the afternoon, according to the European model, which right now I've kind of been sticking with. It's been the most consistent as far as how things ought to look. Now, with that cold air sagging in, remember the cold front comes in a little more to the south earlier on, so that means any precipitation out here was likely at the initial stage going to be a little bit of light freezing rain and some sleet mixed in. So that will leave a little bit of a glaze on the roadways, which will cause some travel trouble problems up here in northwestern, northern, and southern Kansas for the overnight period, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So be advised if you live in that area and you're going to be doing some traveling. When we talk about snowfall amounts, again, I'll stick with the European for now. I'll show you a more conservative amount. But just want to give you the idea of what can happen if that upper level low comes in very strong and deep, like the NAM was suggesting. You can get some pretty decent snowfall amounts. Now, will they quite get this high? Probably not, but it's still a good bet. We're going to get some decent measurable snow out of that in northern Oklahoma and into Kansas. But here's the trend I want to tell you, and this has really been the trend this whole time. This I-44 corridor seems to be the dividing line where you get nothing and where you at least get a light dusting at minimal. So we should get a light dusting of snow here in the metro, maybe of an inch, especially on the north and west side of town right now is the way it looks. Same thing for Tulsa. Flurries, all the way south of Muskogee, but maybe an inch or so north and west side of Tulsa. But this is such a fine line in the sand, and remember, it's Monday night. Things can change. We do look at the Oklahoma City forecast for the European model. We look at all the ensemble deals to see how much they all think. It skips a few panels, meaning a few runs thinks it's not going to be any snow at all here in Oklahoma City, but most of them go about an inch. There's a couple that are 2. Here's some that are about half an inch or a trace. It all averages out to about a pathetic half-inch of snow on the south side of Oklahoma City. Now, but you will notice, here's some good news for you snow lovers. This is around the 23rd. You see this? There's about 20 members here that thinks we're going to get some snow and some decent snow in that, and some of them. So, we have another storm system to talk about, but we'll do that later, one thing at a time. The short version of that, again, about half an inch, and most of these ensembles have at least some measurable snow here in Oklahoma City. So it's not that it's not going to snow. It's a deal. It's just the fine line of the amounts that's worth anything, right? That's what we're really focused on. Now, I told you I'd show you a very conservative blend of the models up here in northwest Oklahoma. It's only going 2 to maybe 3 inches of snow. As you can see, that's very conservative compared to the European. We shall see. Snowfall totals this far out are still problematic in the forecasting world, so not surprised there. And I've been looking at the German model just kind of get an idea. Each run has shifted the measurable snow just a little more north each time, but it's going much more conservative amounts here in northwest Oklahoma, kind of like that map I just showed you, and now pushing all the significant snow up here into eastern Kansas. So, wah, wah, wah. Don't like that output. All right, so the other big story, obviously, is the cold air coming in. So we had some really nice temperatures today. We're going to have nice temperatures tomorrow. We should have widespread 60s, probably a few 70s showing up for our Tuesday afternoon. Obviously a little breezy as we head into Wednesday. So watch what happens on Wednesday. Another decent day temperature-wise. We're going to be, I'd probably say closer to 60 most areas because of the increase in humidity, cloud cover, that kind of deal. But if you look at the green colors sliding southward, there's 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. It's 38 degrees here in Oklahoma City. Remember, at this point in time, we should have some light freezing rain and sleet up here in this region, and temperature continue to fall, then we should get that change over to a mixture bag of maybe even a little sleet here, and then some snow here in Oklahoma City as we go throughout the rest of our Thursday. So that's just kind of the leading edge of the cold air. And at that point in time, those temperatures will fall with the wind chill blowing behind it. Those winds probably gusting over 30 miles an hour. You're going to have wind chill values into the teens out here in northwest Oklahoma. And then, of course, this line will continue southwards as we go throughout Thursday. So even though it may start off warm down here in southeast Oklahoma, it will get cold as the day goes on. Now, you won't get any snow down there, but at least you will get the colder air. All right, temperatures over the next couple of days. Love it, eat it up, enjoy it. Upper 60s. Then Thursday's a nasty day, 30 high at midnight. So, for example, falling into the 20s. And then Friday, obviously a very cold morning, a little bit of snow on the ground. Pretty decent rebound. And then Saturday and Sunday look pretty good. Monday's looking good, the 21st. And then remember, we had that 23rd hint of a little bit of snow in here, so this will be an extended outlook, and we'll see what happens with temperatures associated with that to see if we get to nudge those down a little bit to go with the next winter storm. Whew. Told you I had a lot to cover. Hey, I did that pretty quick, too. It took like about 15 minutes. That wasn't bad. So there you go. So let me look at a couple of your questions. And then, obviously, we're going to talk about this again as we head into tomorrow night. And I don't know if I can do a lunchtime live tomorrow. I'll see, but I may be preoccupied. So if so, just look for me at 9:30 tomorrow evening, and again on Wednesday. Wednesday probably lunchtime, and Wednesday evening. How about that? So John wanted to know, are there any models showing it coming more south? As far as the snow goes, no. So the I-44 corridor is the hard line in the sand. Don't see it any more south than that. I guess you can always hope for some miraculous change, but usually once we're about 48 hours out, which is where we are, with the models pretty much all kind of agreeing with one another, it'd be very tough to get a significant change on the track. It could happen, but they're getting pretty good these days, so it would be unlikely. So right now, that's what we're going to go for. But it's a good question. Let's see here. You guys are always big fans of Larry, by the way. I see that. I get a little jealous. All right, let me go to Facebook here real quick. Sorry, never fails. I always get an itch. I swear the itch happens when I talk. I think that's what it is, because it doesn't itch before the broadcast, only during it. I'll give you here's a little funny thing. So I was doing a bodybuilding show, and on stage, obviously you have to hold a pose. And you can't move. You gotta suck in your gut. You're breathing very shallow because you don't want to make any huge movements. And hold this pose and smile and be relaxed looking when you're not really relaxed. It's a lot of work. So I'm doing all this, and all of a sudden I get this nose itch that won't stop. I mean, it just would not stop, and that had never happened. And I'm going, oh my gosh! You kind of do the old nonchalant, you move around, and do this, whatever. I don't know. You try to make it look like you're just reorganizing. I don't know what I was thinking, and it didn't work. It didn't help. It made it worse. And I'm dying. And if you ever have a nose that you can't get, oh my gosh. And so the judges, are watching everything. And I kind of just do this again, because I can't, what can I do? And I was like, what in the world had happened? Well, what had happened is I've gotten old. And I had a nose hair that grew across and was tickling the other side of the nose. That just happened, I guess, overnight in the mornings. That's how, things work. And that's what was causing the itch. And pulled that sucker out. Boy, it hurt, but no more itch after that. Anyway, that was a total tangent. That just made me think of that story. So anyway, so there you go. Never a dull moment. By the way, I see you for all the stars tonight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate that. And I see some Tom favorites. Jimmy. Yeah, I enjoy his music. So, and I can relate with the independent artist deal. AJ, I wish the suits could be more like you. Well, I'm glad that they're not, because there can only be one of me. Trust me, you don't want more than one of me. That would be too much. But yeah, I enjoy what I do, and God gave me the gift to put it all together, so I'm using it to help you guys out. And it's it. It's just, we all have a purpose in life, so I'm living mine. All right, so listen, I think that's going to be it for me. It's almost 10 o'clock. You guys go and enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day evening. You know what to do. So I need to give you more guidance from there. But sleep well, and then we will talk again tomorrow evening for sure. And again on Wednesday to see where the latest is, if anything's changed with the storms, how much severe weather-wise, exact locations, exact timing. Right now, it mainly looks like just hail and a little bit of wind. If there's going to be a tornado threat, we'll talk about the fine areas for that. So we'll do all that and more, and then we'll see if that snow has changed any. All right, you guys have a great night tonight, and we'll do it again tomorrow. See you later.